Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uthapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam. I missed the prayer.
Advaitam
Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindabaneswari Rshabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm just appreciating this process of Krishna consciousness because when I was offering the prayers, I was seeing Sanya Mataji, Jyotir Mataji join, Anita Mataji was there. And wanting to thank them like that, I was thinking. So like that, the attention get diverted. But the important key to approach Bhagavatam, key to receive mercy of Bhagavatam or Guru and Krishna's attention. And so when I got back to the attention, it was like so satisfying, fulfilling. So thank you for everyone for joining. Your presence is really like a blessing. So with that, we will start 7th chapter, 10th verse. Lord Brahma is going in an ecstasy after explaining how the Lord does the material creation, how he creates the ingredients and the stuff, we say things, pots and plates. So he created all those stuff. I mean, he explained, Lord Brahma explained the science, how the Lord was doing, how he's creating a laptop or, keyboard or the house or so on. And he said, I want to tell more important and more interesting subject matter, that is the Lord's Leela pastimes. And he says, although I'm also involved in this creation very deeply, but these pastimes, the Lord's personal reciprocation exchanges with his devotees are in the bottom of my heart. So he's going on, and we are in the 10th verse. And this verse is about Lord Rshabadeva, how the Lord came as Rshabadeva. And again, the purpose remains the same. The purpose of material creation, creating the elements and the laptop and all that, is providing the care and somehow attracting, inviting, empowering us to come back. So in this avatar of Krishna as Rishabhadev, Krishna passes on the empowerment to be like a Jada. In a sense, we know Jada Bharat, that Bharat Maharaj, actually he is the son of Rishabhadev actually. So he first birth, he messed up. He was practicing devotion service so nicely, but he messed it up, getting distracted to the deer, like the way we get drawn away by some videos or someone saying something on us or some obstacles, some emotions and so on. Then Krishna's mercy, because of the intensity of devotion service, although he was in the deer body, he still remembered his past. And then in the deer body, he was very cautious, he started staying around the association of the devotees aspiring for self-realization. So at the end of the life, he remembers Narayana again. Fortunately, he gets the birth of a human where he can practice the devotion service. This time, he became Jada, indifferent to everything. So we're going to hear more about what is this Jada and how we can pray and receive that empowerment from Rishabhadev to stay Jada in our pursuit of devotion service. Sometimes we need to stay Jada when we are pulled by the different videos or different problems or different emotions, and stay fixed and faithful. So that is one of the lesson we can take from here, to be like a Jada. With that, we'll start the verse. Nabe rasa Rishabha susudevi sunu yo vai chachara samadruk jada yoga charyam yat paramahamsyam rushaya padam amananti swasta prasanta karana parimukta sangaha. Nabe is Maharaj Nabi, Asa, the personality of Godhead, Rishabha, Asu, he became Sudevi Sunu. So the personality of Godhead became Rishabhadev, became the son of Sudevi and Naba, Sudevi Sunur. And what did he do? Yo vai chachara samadruk jada yoga charya. Chachara, he performed Jada Yoga Charyam. He performed the Jada Yoga for the purpose of equibalanced mind. And that Jada Yoga, Yat Paramahamsyam Rushaya Padam Amananti. That Jada Yoga, the learned sages, Rushaya, they accept this as a higher stage of perfection, that which helps to reach the highest stage of perfection by swastha prasanta karanaha parimukta sangaha. Swastha, by this basically Jada Yoga is composed of self-reposed or suspended material senses for the purpose of getting free from material contamination. So let's go again. Nabe rasa Vrishabha sudevi sunu yo vai chachara samadruk jada yoga charyam yet paramahamsyam rushaya padam amananti swasta prasanta karanaha parimukta sangaha. Nabe, by Maharaj Nabi, Asau, the personality of Godhead, Rishabha, Asa became Sudevi Sunu, son of Sudevi, why certainly Chachara performed Samadruk, equibalence, Jada material, Yogacharyam, performance of yoga, yet which Paramahamsyam, the highest stage of perfection, Rishayaha, learned sages, Padam, situation, Amananti, do accept Swasta, self-reposed, Prasanta, suspended, Karanaha, the material senses, Parimukta, perfectly liberated, Sangha, material contamination. Translation: the Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabi, and was known as Rshabadeva. He performed materialistic yoga to equibalance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfection of situational liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely satisfied. Prasanta Karnaha Swasta Prasanta. Because Prabhupada translates as suspended, but it's also, in a way, it's also we are peaceful. When we are peaceful, the senses are also suspended. Purport: out of many types of mystic performances for self-realization, the process of Jada Yoga is also one accepted by authorities. This Jada Yoga involves practicing becoming like a dumb stone and not being affected by material reactions. Just as a stone is indifferent to all kinds of attacks and reattacks of external situations, similarly, one practices Jada Yoga by tolerating voluntary infliction of pain upon the material body. Such yogis, out of many self-inclination methods, practice plucking out the hairs on their heads without shaving and without any instrumental help. But the real purpose of such Jada Yoga practice is to get free from material affection and to be completely situated in the self. At the last stage of his life, Emperor Rshabadeva wandered like a dumb madman, unaffected by all kinds of bodily mistreatment. Seeing him like a madman, wandering naked with long hair and a long beard, less intelligent children and men in the street used to spit on him, urinate on his body. He used to lie in his own stool and never move. But the stool of his body was fragrant like the smell of fragrant flowers. And a saintly person would recognize him as Paramahamsa, one in the highest state of human perfection. One who is not able to make his stool fragrant should not, however, imitate Emperor Rishabdev. The practice of Jada Yoga was possible for Rishabdeva and others on the same level of perfection. But such an uncommon practice is impossible for any ordinary man. So the real purpose of Jada Yoga, as mentioned here in this verse, is prasantakaranaha, subduing the senses. The whole process of yoga, under whatever heading it may be, is to control the unbridled material senses and thus prepare oneself for self-realization. In this age, specifically, this Jada Yoga cannot be of any practical value. But on the other hand, the practice of Bhakti Yoga is feasible because it is just suitable for this age. Here is a favorite sentence for Bhagavatam, to all Bhagavatam attendees also who regularly attend to Bhagavatam. The simple method of hearing from the right source, Srimad Bhagavatam, will lead one to the highest perfectional stage of yoga. Rshabadeva was a son of King Nabi and the grandson of King Agnidra, and he was the father of King Bharata, after whose name this planet Earth was called Bharatavarsha. So Rshabadeva's mother was also known as Meru Devi, although her name is mentioned here as Sudevi. It is sometimes proposed that Sudevi was another wife of King Nabi, but since King Rshabadeva is mentioned elsewhere as a son of Meru Devi, it is clear that Meru Devi and Sudevi are the same person under different names. So that's about Rshabadeva. The one of the lesson I mentioned in the earlier was we can pray for the mercy and we can pray for empowerment to stay jada, especially Prabhupada also telling here. Jada means practicing indifferent to all kinds of attacks and re-attacks of external situations. So such a nice definition Prabhupada is giving here. Attacks and re-attacks of external situations. We are getting attacked and re-attacked in different ways on our path of self-realization, realizing our spiritual body and spiritual home, our real and eternal body and real and eternal home, and real and eternal relationship with Krishna. But we are pulled by our Facebook or WhatsApp, or by someone saying something, or by health issue, or this issue, that issue. So that's one lesson. We can pray for the empowerment, mercy, to stay indifferent and stay focused on the path of self-realization. And the second is also actually glorification. When we take up this process of self-realization or bhakti yoga, or hearing to Srimad Bhagavatam, there's also purification happens. And Rshabadeva is exemplifying the highest extent of purification, that the most untouchable thing in anyone's body is the stool. And become pure. The stool of these pure souls even become fragrant. That's the level of purification. That's the level of extent. That's the extent of purification that is possible and can be blessed through the process of bhakti yoga or path of self-realization. So those are the two appreciations. It's already 7:51. Just to give you a little bit, 1 or 2 minutes more idea. So all these topics, all these incarnations, Lord Brahma is mentioned. They're elaborated in the rest of the Bhagavatam. And Rishabdev, his pastimes are elaborated in the 5th canto. Especially, we know that Dhruva Maharaj, his father is Uttanapada, and Uttanapada's brother is Priyavrata, and basically their father is Swayambhu Manu. And they also, Uttanapada and Priyavrata have sisters Akuti, Prasuti, and Devhuti. We also know Devhuti as a famous personality coming in 3rd canto. And Akuti, Prasuti, and Devhuti's son is Kapil Dev. He's the Lord again. So, Priyavrata, actually he was in the forest, but somehow gets tricked to get into the family life. So when he gets into the family life, he has various children, and one of the child is Agnidra. The eldest of them is Agnidra. So Agnidra has again 9 sons, and oldest of the 9 sons is King Nabi, who was the father of Rishabdeva. So after coming to the birth of Rishabdeva in the 5th canto, chapter 4 describes about characteristics, and chapter 5, very important chapter, a lot of verses are quoted from these teachings. From this chapter is teachings to his sons, and then finally the activities of Rishabdeva. This is also important chapter. The activities, how Rishabdev, he was exemplifying, basically he was passing on the empowerment to stay steady on our path of self-realization. So little bit about characteristics of Rishabdev is that he's a wonderful king, and he has begot 100 children, Out of the 100 children, here says, Rishabdev for a while became a student in Gurukula, and returning, he followed the orders of his guru and accepted a wife named Jayanti. And he begot 100 sons in the womb of Jayanti. Of these 100 sons, the eldest was known as Bharata. So previously, this earth is called, I forgot. It's called Samvarsha, Agnidra Varsha, I believe. But after, the eldest of the son was Bharata. Since the reign of Bharat Maharaj, this planet was called Bharata Varsha. That's it. Since then we call Bharata Varsha. That's how our India also got the name Bharat. So Rishabdeva also had other sons, which are like 99 sons. Out of those 99 sons, there are 9 of them. Their names are mentioned here. They are Navyugendras. They are going to come again in the Bhagavatam also. And another 9 of them, they actually become the Kshatriyas. And that kind of completes 9, 9, 18, and then Bharat Maharaj 19. I think rest of them, they were, sorry, my mind is a little bit not running as I'm trying to go quick. They were actually become the Brahmanas, supporting the Vedas. So in the next chapter, Lord Rishabdeva teaches to his sons the Bhagavad Dharma. And very important verses, the first one, it might resonate to you. You might remember it goes, Nayam deha bhajam nuloke kastam kama marhate vidabhujam ye tapo divyam putra kena sattvam suddhyat yasmad brahma saukyam ananta. Basically, he was telling, my dear, devotees, this human life, don't waste it like, going for sense gratification like hawks and dogs, but take austerity and penance and attain the position of devotion service. Because by such devotion service, Brahma Saukyam Anantam, we get to the Brahma Saukyam, transcendental happiness, and Anantam, and unending transcendental happiness. That's what he says. Don't get yield to the immediate attractions. Just stay focused, little bit take austerity and follow the devotion service and gain access to this eternal happiness, that eternal transcendental happiness. That's one of the famous words. And even this is also another second verse is also famous verse. He gives Mahat Sevam Dwara Mahuri Muktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam Mahanta Ste Samachitta Prasanta Vimanvaya Suhruda Sadavoye. So he was telling Tamo Dwaram Yoshita Sangi Sangam. Yoshita Sangi Sangam. Yoshita Sangi is the sense gratifiers, or Yoshitam is woman. Whoever like humanizes, one associates with them, that's it. They go into the dungeon of darkness, Thamodvaram. But on the same time, if you associate with Mahats, great spiritual elevated personalities, then it is a door for liberation. One can attain the path of liberation by rendering service to the highly advanced spiritual personality. This is another famous verse. And this is also kind of quoted also, like, how whoever interested in Krishna consciousness, they don't get distracted. Then this is another famous verse. Prabhupada always goes, Nunam pramattam kurute vikurma yadindriya pritaya apranoti nasadamanye atatmanoyam asanapi kleshad asa deha. So when a person considers sense gratification to be the aim of life, that's it. He becomes mad after the mental engagements, and then he just gets distracted, and he just he ties himself with klesha, asanapi klesha the asadeha. He ties himself with a lot of miseries. And this is also another premise was Parabhavastavad Bodha Jato Yevan Najijnasatma Tattvam Yavat Kriyas Tavad Idam Manovai Karmatmakam Yena Sarira Bandha. So, like this, very important teachings Rshabdev gives. And then there's one very, very famous and that is relatable to us. He gives important teaching in the 18th verse that basically says, you don't become a mother, you don't become a father, you don't become a teacher, you don't become a guru if you're not going to deliver the dependence. Guru na sasyat, don't become a spiritual master. Sajana na sasyat, the sajana means the dependence. And pita na sasyat, don't become a father. And janani na sasyat, don't become a mother. And even don't become even devata, na patis, and then don't become a husband also. Oh God. Na mochedya samupeta mrityam. If you are not going to deliver them from the clutches of mrityu, he says, no, one who cannot deliver, that should never become a spiritual master, father, husband, mother, worshipful demigod. So other way to say it is, if you're not doing it, then actually we are entangling ourselves very badly. So that comes, to bring more and more attention to the Bhagavatam. And finally, the activities of Rishabdev is also very famous. Parshit Maharaj really brings up asking, Sukadeva Goswami, can you please tell, Rishabdev is such a great mystic. He didn't use any of his mysticism, mystic powers. Why like that? And Sukadeva Goswami tells how, the mystic powers are so destructive. Like in the case of Saubhari Muni, he got a little bit distracted with the mystic powers. That's it. He got a lot of distraction in his self-realization path. Similarly, to exemplify that, Rishabdev also, he didn't yield to the mystic powers, and instead, he exemplified how to, leave the body in the path of self-realization. He says, the mind is so restless that it induces even a perfect yogi to be controlled by the senses. It's interesting, no? Mind, how much power the mind has. Even perfect yogi is getting distracted. What to speak of our little self. Therefore, Rishabdev, for the instruction of all yogis, showed the process of quitting the body. While in South India, he traveled through. Suddenly, there was a forest fire that burned the forest and Lord Rshabadeva body to ashes. So the pastime of Lord Rshabadeva as a liberated soul were known by the king of Konka, Venka and Kutaka. But this king's name was Arhat, but he later became captivated by illusion energy. And in this condition, he set forth the basic principles of Jainism. So all these activities of Lord Rishabdev was known to this king of Konka, Venka and Kutaka in South India. And, it was nice part. But the thing is, he later became captivated. And when one becomes captivated by illusion energy, what happens? Especially after being spiritually, one gets captivated, they'll start their own religion. So that's how the Jainism has come up. That's it, Prabhujis and Matajis. Small appreciation and glorification. Would you like to say anything for Lord Rishabdev? Sorry for tricking you, but if anyone want to say anything?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the very wonderful class. Who can better do the topic than yourself? It was very wonderful. I was wondering if in the Jainism, they recognize Rshabadeva as the source of, the principles. And anyway, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, I started speaking. Hare Krishna. I was wondering if the Jainism followers, they recognize that the original giver of their the principles or their dharma is Rshabadeva himself. Do they recognize that, Prabhuji?
It looks they recognize, but the principles are set after being captivated by illusory energy.
Oh.
So we learned in our Bhakti Shastri studies, the distraction from parampara, it doesn't take much distraction. So you remember our teacher has told, there is a line, you're drawing a line from here to there, right? So when you're drawing the line, the only distractions needed is just move it a single dot. That's all it takes. And you continue drawing the line. What happens? It will. That root is there. All things are there. It's but it becomes a tangent. It's not straight line anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
thank you, Prabhu. And what struck me, I mean, I'm sure everybody is captivated by that statement. Don't become a father, mother, friend. And then if you cannot, I mean, really, of all the relatives and friends and teachers, who has heard this statement even, who has regards this for this statement by Rshabadeva. Hare Krishna. For the billions of parents and teachers on this planet.
It looks like it is scary, but it is really a mercy.
Yeah.
That, he is reminding us, and he is blessing us, pay more attention to Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name and the Guru and so on.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of implications.
Yes.
It is true, because obviously the child doesn't do well, and they will say, so and so son, and if the disciple doesn't do well, they will say so and so disciple. Or if the followers of ISKCON doesn't do well, they'll say this followers of ISKCON.
Yes.
And or this leader, the group members in the group doesn't do well, they say this group people.
Yes.
So, yeah, but in any case, our existence itself is scary in this world. So better bring our attention, in humility and eagerness. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, this incarnation of the Lord is a great teacher and preceptor, and his own sons, the Nava Yogendras, later in the Bhagavatam, their instructions. Very, very amazing. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madayi. Blessings. Okay, I think that we are coming to pretty close. We'll close with that. Thank you. Yeah, Lakshmikanta Prabhu, you're saying something?
No, Prabhu, thank you so much for a nice class, especially I think touching up on the Rshabadeva teachings. Yeah, very wonderful teachings.
Yeah, very grateful he let me glorify, and your association also made some glory, Prabhu. Special appreciation for Rshabadeva. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.